In the immortal words of Thin Lizzy, the boys are back in town. The Lakewood Rangers ride into Buckeye Senior High for a GLC matchup. Pat, it's been a while. We've missed the Lakewood faithful out there, but boy, it feels good to be back in the gym on a Friday night.
Yes, it does. A long layoff, but excited to be back, Grant.
The Bucks and the Rangers will kick off here after senior night at Buckeye High School. Buckeye honoring their cheerleaders and their small senior class. Only one senior in the starting lineup tonight for the Bucks. And Pat, if you're the Rangers, it's kind of like looking in the mirror. A young team, a team in the Bucks that has had some struggles recently, 1-2 over their last 3 games, some tough matchups. And Lakewood, having been off for the past 2 weeks, will face some challenges of their own.
Yes, both teams, have some challenges. Buckeyes, kind of gone cold the past few games, but both teams are very well coached. I don't expect the struggles to last very long for either team.
Well, certainly the struggle has been real for the Lakewood Rangers varsity team. Quarantined for the past 2 weeks, not being able to play, has certainly put a damper on a season that was trending in quite a exciting direction for the team. And Pat, we're going to kick it to you for your $2 keys to the game as Lakewood returns to the hardwood tonight.
Yeah, for the Rangers, they got to shake off the rust. I feel like this is a key quite often with the schedule that the Rangers have had. But 2 weeks off, I think their first practice was midweek. So, not too much even practice time before their first game. So they got to shake it off. They also have to replace a lot of scoring from Aiden Wacker. He's been shooting the lights out of the ball, and he's not here tonight. So they got to replace some of that scoring. For Medina Buckeye, they need to limit turnovers. The past few games, they've, turned the ball over a little bit too much, and I think they got to speed up the Rangers. With the Rangers' rust, I think, they want to speed them up and force a lot of turnovers. So those are the keys to the game.
So the Bucks and the Rangers will hopefully look to keep this one a clean fight between the two. Buckeye coming off a game in which they had a season-high 20 turnovers against Bay. A little sloppy the other night as well against EC, albeit in a win. And for the Rangers, boy, they've played every game close this year, Pat. Their win against Holy Name was the last game they played on January 12th, if you can remember back that far. Yeah. And it was definitely the Pete Patsaurus show for that one. But a new game brings new challenges for the Lakewood Rangers. And we will certainly see if Coach Kamock's purple and gold Rangers are up to the challenge tonight. Our Geiger's question of the game is, what key habits will Lakewood need to develop before they kick off GLC tournament play?
Well, they got to get back into it, as we talked about, but they just need to continue what they're doing. I mean, they got to handle pressure, keep the pace of the game in their favor, and play the Rangers' way. If they do that and continue to play the way they can, they'll have good success in the GLC.
The GLC tournament in its inaugural season, we can't wait to bring you that one on GLC TV, something we have in the works with the other broadcasting networks in the conference. And Lakewood won't be kind of sure where they're going to find themselves in the tournament seating. Tournament seating happening on Sunday for the tournament, and Lakewood only having played a handful of games in the conference specifically, it's going to look a little different when the seating comes out, but certainly the Bucks and the Rangers will be playing big factors come GLC tournament time.
Yeah, it's an odd year. I mean, some teams that played upwards of 10 to 14 games or so, and then there's the Rangers who played 5. The GLC it's a grind. You play 18 conference games normally. This year, who knows how many you get in, but on any given night, one GLC team can beat another. So the tournament's going to be a lot of fun.
Can't wait to carry that one for all the Lakewood faithful out there. And wherever you're joining us tonight. We appreciate the support, and we appreciate the support of First Federal of Lakewood, our presenting sponsor here on the Lakewood Sports Channel. First Federal of Lakewood is rooted in the communities they serve and has supported the personal and business banking needs of its customers since 1935. Visit ffl.net to learn more. And as the Bucks and the Rangers of Lakewood get set to start this one off tonight on a Friday night hoop session, we want to thank our supporters out there in the Lakewood athletics community. Bringing our families and fans all the action takes a lot of help from our community. The Lakewood Sports Channel would not be possible without the contributions from our supporters. Thanks to donations through the athletic boosters, we can keep bringing you the show and keep it going in the future. Go to golakewood.org if you'd like to make a donation to the channel. Thank you to all of our families and supporters out there supporting the Lakewood Sports Channel. This has been such a fun ride, and Pat, I don't know about you, but the past 2 Friday nights, I felt like something has been missing. Really good to see the Rangers back out there getting ready for a GLC tilt.
Yeah, I've been pretty bored the last couple weeks, just going home, not getting to do a game. It's been sad. I'm excited to be back, and, it's fun for us because we get to, do it all over again here pretty soon. So quick turnaround, and it's a good thing. Shake off this rust pretty quickly for the Rangers.
It'll be a first on the Lakewood Sports Channel, a Lakewood Sports Channel doubleheader coming at you tomorrow as the Lakewood Lady Rangers will be having their senior night against these Buckeye Bucks, and the Lakewood men's varsity team will be kicking off in a impromptu game against University School, thrown together very quickly by our outstanding athletic department and administration. But we'll have a double feature for you. So you might have missed us for the past 2 weeks, but you're going to get a lot of us before the weekend strikes midnight. So, Pat, speaking of exciting opportunities upcoming, we got to talk about our matchup of the game. The Slife matchup of the game. It's Danny Flood and Riley Uhlentz going at it. These two guards can really shoot it from deep. They can really put the offensive load on their back. If you're tuning in at home tonight, you're going to be in for a treat because these two guys are some of the most feared shooters in the GLC.
Yes, they both can really shoot it. Flood had 25 in a loss against Fairview. Riley hasn't put up those type of numbers yet, but he's very capable. And we actually just found out prior to the game that they played AU together a couple years ago, which is, that's always fun playing against guys that you were teammates in the summer with.
It'll be a great matchup to see here on the Lakewood Sports Channel. And when you talk about a guy like Riley Uhlentz, his role even becomes more important tonight. No Aiden Wacker available for the Lakewood Rangers, and that's some three-point shooting that the Rangers have really come to rely on. This is a team that has rebranded themselves from deep this year, Pat, shooting over 40% from three. Aiden Wacker shooting over 50% personally. They're going to miss his services tonight, but you can bet that the Rangers are going to want to pull this out for the senior.
Yeah, you got to have other guys step up. There's other shooters on the team, like you mentioned. Riley can shoot it. Andre hit a couple this year. So we have guys that can fill that void. They just have to be ready and willing.
The Rangers will certainly be looking for contributions up and down the bench tonight, as their 2-week layoff will certainly produce some needed water breaks on their side for the varsity squad. And on the Buckeye side, Pat, you have Nick Miller, you have Danny Flood. These are the two engines for the Buckeye team. They had a fantastic start to the season. They started out 6-2, a little bit of a skid, 1-2 in their last 3 games. Have played some close ones in the GLC. But if you have watched this team as we did in doing our research for the game tonight, man, can they really grind it out defensively against you, switch some defenses, get you into some situations where they're applying pressure. Lakewood's going to have to be aware of that and not be ready for that up and down style that they've been used to at games like EC, games like Holy Name, where it felt like a track meet, especially for the announcers.
Exactly.
This one might be a little different in terms of tempo.
Yes, it's not going to be the track meet as you said. I mean, we could see it at times. Who knows? But yeah, they'll change things up. They're going to try to speed up the Rangers and kind of get that rust off them by forcing turnovers. But like you said, both teams are well coached. I think it could be a fun one to watch.
Certainly will be a good one here on the Lakewood Sports Channel, wherever you are joining us, however you're joining us tonight. It's so good to be back in the gym here in Buckeye Senior High. And as we look towards under 2 minutes before the tip-off of this one, we are going to get you our starting lineups brought to you by Rebound Athletic Physical Therapy. Don't let injuries keep you off the court. Get back into the game with Rebound Physical Therapy. And a little different look for the Rangers tonight as Ulintz, Muhammad, Patsoris, Grayer, and Q Neal. Jaquan Neal will be the 5 that head coach Alex Kamock will be sending out there for the Rangers and for the Bucks. It'll be Danny Flood, Zach Weber, Nick Miller, Caden Hudak, and Shane Bambrick, coached by Tom Harrington. And Pat, like we said, a little different starting lineup for the Lakewood Rangers. What are you going to look for from this starting 5? First game in 2 weeks. What does this group specifically, their skill set, bring to the game and bring to the table?
They got to see the ball go in the basket. I mean, not playing for 2 weeks, that's huge. You got to get that first bucket down, kind of shake off the jitters, which I think they can do early. Pete Patsoris is going to lead the way, that senior. He's led the way most of the season. So getting him going early will be huge for the Rangers.
Certainly a huge matchup here on the Lakewood Sports Channel. It's Buckeye and Lakewood set to tip it off here from Buckeye High School. We go now to the PA announcer for Buckeye for our starting lineups and national anthem.
As we have seen, the opportunity to play sports can be taken away by the spread of COVID-19. We ask that everyone in attendance wear a facial covering, use proper hygiene, and keep yourselves and your family 6 feet apart from other families. Our ability to follow these guidelines will go a long way in determining how much of a season our student athletes will have. Thank you for your cooperation. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Buckeye High School. The Board of Education and Administration of Buckeye High School extend to each of you a cordial welcome. We are pleased that you are here tonight. Buckeye High School and Lakewood High School are members of the Ohio High School Athletic Association and abide by the standards of conduct, competition, and relations with member schools. In order to make tonight's contest as enjoyable as possible, please represent your school and community in a positive and respectful manner. This means follow the rules, speak and act responsibly, and show courtesy and respect to your fellow fans, the officials and coaches, the administrators and authority figures, and, of course, your team and opponents. Let's make tonight's contest great by remembering to respect the game. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you please stand. Gentlemen, remove your hats and direct your attention to the north end of the gymnasium for the playing of our national anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner. guard, number 5, Riley Ulinitz. The 6-foot junior forward, MJ Grayer. And the 6-foot senior forward, number 23, Ahmed Muhammad. And now, your Buckeye Bucks, coached by Tom Harrington. The 5'11" junior guard, number 2, Danny Flood. The 6-foot senior guard, number 3, Zach Weber. The 6'4" junior forward, number 12, Nick Miller. The 6'3" sophomore guard, number 14, Caden Hudak. And the 6'3" junior forward, number 33, Shane Bambrick.
And with that, it is basketball time once again on the Lakewood Sports Channel. Bringing you all the action. Pat Hayes, Colin Cunningham on the camera, and Grant Graves on the play-by-play. Lakewood in their road purple. Their fantastic new uniforms have gotten some rave reviews from GV Artwork this year. And Buckeye trotting out there in the orange and white, their home uniforms. Miller and Patsor set to tip it off. We are back on the Lakewood Sports Channel. Tip controlled by the Rangers, and we are off here at Buckeye High School. Muhammad out there getting a start for the first time in a few games after his ankle injury versus Valley Forge.
I was going to say that's one positive thing for the Rangers, getting Muhammad healthy after the quarantine.
Turnover by the Rangers to start the game, and it'll be Flood directing the offense for Buckeye. Leading scorer on the year, Danny Flood, the junior. Nick Miller, the big man, leading rebounder. Do it all for Buckeye. Spins off the baseline. Flood drives middle. Kick out there to number 14, Hudak. That three a little too long, and there's Patsoris. Pete Patsoris averaging 13.7 of those tough rebounds this year. The three-pointer from Patsoris off the left iron, but there's MJ Grayer.
Yeah, I mean, Pete being the biggest guy in the court for the Rangers, he's got to do a lot of that.
Rangers not matched up as they go down the floor. Miller gets inside. The bump by Muhammad, and Miller will shoot a pair at the free throw line. Some good action there. Hustle by MJ Grayer on the other end. That save didn't go that way, but a few possessions down, and already, Pat, communication is going to be big for the Rangers defensively.
Yeah, you've seen a couple decent rotations and then a couple lapses. It's going to take a few possessions for them to get back in the groove of things.
Hudak replaced quickly by the senior, Chris Gator. As Miller knocks down both, and the Rangers find themselves in a 2-0 hole here with 6 minutes and 55 seconds remaining on the Lakewood Sports Channel. Ulinitz, the sharpshooter for Lakewood, trying to get in the middle. Muhammad from the corner for three. That one too long, and Gator will break out the other way. Senior pushes up the left-hand side as the Bucks look to extend their lead. Miller, the jab step and the move on Muhammad. The layup is good.
Too easy there. Rangers got to do a better job of not allowing the straight line drive.
Patsoris, the floater, gets his own rebound, and he is bumped underneath. Nice job there by Patsoris. Not giving up on that one, but, man, Nick Miller is going to be a tough matchup down low for whoever Lakewood throws at him. He's crafty, and, again, he can move a little bit and put the ball on the floor with his size. That's going to be a fun matchup to watch. Patsoris gets one to wind its way in there, and Lakewood is on the board.
Being undersized, the Rangers are going to have to help on Miller in a couple different ways. MJ's, long and athletic, but you still got to do a little bit of help.
Gator finds Flood on the wing, isolated with Neal guarding him. Patsoris switches out. Flood looking into the post, but a pass across the court will be intercepted by Ulinitz. Patsoris the fake, the spin. Lost it for a second, but Patsoris puts it up and ties it up. Pete Patsoris starting off where he left off when we last saw you on the Lakewood Sports Channel. Bucks imploring their team to get off to a hot start. It's been a big theme, and a charge! Jaquan Neal, the charge underneath. A great defensive effort. That'll get Coach Kamak smiling early in this one.
Yeah, you love to see that early in a game after a long layoff. A defensive stance like that is fantastic.
Some of the quotes we saw from Coach Harrington after a few of their games, it was imperative for this Buckeye team to start quickly as Hakeem Karan checks in for Ahmed Muhammad. And if you're the Rangers, you want to try to put the Bucks on their heels, but easier said than done after a long layoff.
Yes, you want to get out and run, but they're not going to allow you as much. You got to get the ball out of the hoop and run if you can.
Pat Soros drove into a pack of Bucks, and the missed layup will get Flood going the other way, but he is blocked by Ullens. What a block by Riley. What he lacks in height, he makes up for in leaping ability.
I was just about to say that's not great transition defense for the Rangers getting back there, but Riley made up for it with a great athletic play.
The junior certainly up to the task on that one as he puts the ball on the string here. Grayer in the corner is Lakewood trying to get going, but that pass is intercepted, and Zach Weber will take it all the way. The Rangers, a few turnovers here early, trying to get their offense running crisply to start this one.
Yes, they are. They're unforced turnovers, kind of just throwing it to the other team. They need to, like you said, be a little bit more crisp.
The Buckeye defense completely focused on Pat Soros as they leave Karan open for three. He misses wide left. Flood and Pat Soros. Flood from three. That one too strong. Nice rebound underneath by Hakeem Karan, the first substitute for the Rangers tonight. The driving layup, no good. Good defense there by Bainbrook.
Really good box out there by Hakeem. He just couldn't get the layup to fall on the other end.
Miller thought about it. Got it over to Gator. Miller will pull this time, and that three is good. If you're a coach and you see that size willing to pull up from that far, Pat, you're going to have a defensive game plan ready for a guy like Nick Miller.
Yeah, like I said earlier, you got to help, with him because he can shoot it and he can also score it inside. Got another sub for the Rangers. Andre coming in for MJ.
Number 14, Andre Hollenberger, the defensive pest, as they call him around these parts, and the three-point shooter as well. Q Neal, the runner. That one will go. Q Neal, a nice shot as the Rangers now trail the Bucks 9-6.
And this is kind of what you want from the Rangers. I know they've had some lackluster turnovers early, but staying in the game, shaking off this rust is huge.
Deep three by Miller, no good as Flood thought about a three there, but was doubled by the purple and gold. Flood, a nice take underneath, and the floater will go for Danny Flood.
Tough shot there, and he made it look easy.
Ullens the in and out, but he will pull this one back out. Q Neal, the floater underneath, too strong, and the Bucks will push the other way. Buckeye, a team normally not pushing in transition, but the Rangers are giving them opportunities. Flood's three too long, and Q Neal pulls in the miss. Pat Soros for three. Too strong on the three-pointer is Pat Soros.
You don't see that too often on both ends. Flood missing a three and Pat Soros missing a three.
Coach Kamak going to the bench early in this one. Jarris and Muhammad getting set to check in, and you got to imagine he's going to try to keep everybody as fresh as they can after that long layoff.
Yeah, you got to give everyone a little bit of minutes. They got to get breaks early to stay fresh.
Foul on Karan there. We'll bring in Muhammad and Jarris. Pat Soros and Karan. Neal and Pat Soros will sit as we have 2 minutes and 34 seconds remaining on the Lakewood Sports Channel.
Need a big defensive stop here for the Rangers.
Hudak, Gator, Miller, Bainbrick, and Flood out there for the Bucks.
With this lineup for the Rangers, they're undersized big time, like they have been for most of the year, so they really need to box out and rebound the ball.
Karan, Jarris, Muhammad, Hollenberg, and Ullens out there for the Rangers. You got to think, Pat, this is certainly a team that can keep that hot three-point shooting going for the purple and gold.
Yeah, they can really shoot it, and that's the positive for being a little undersized.
Hollenberg intercepted that post-entry pass and gave it right back up. Lakewood at 4 turnovers so far to start this one as Flood will double dribble that one. A shoe slip there as number 3, Zach Weber, will check back in for Miller. And Coach Kamak imploring his purple and gold squad to take care of the basketball, Pat. You can't cut into a lead for Buckeye if you're the Rangers, if you're not getting shots at the rim or opportunities at all.
Yeah, both teams are giving the ball away a little too early. Coach Harrington going a little smaller with taking Miller out when they take Pete out.
Hakeem Karan for three. That three sorely needed for the Rangers as their offensive woes will hopefully be turning in the other direction. Charis trying to corral Gator, but he knifes his way through.
Mark did a pretty good job of getting over that screen and forcing him, but no help middle, and he got to the hoop a little too easy there.
Chris Gator, the nice move as he made it on the senior Charis. Riley Yulnitz from three, and the Rangers suddenly have hit back-to-back three-pointers.
You'd love to see him get going early like that. That's awesome.
Riley Yulnitz, a fantastic three-point shooter on the season for the Rangers, and they will take that shot all day and all night. Flood pulls up from the elbow, no good, but there is Hudak underneath. The rebound will go. Caden Hudak, very strong rebound underneath him. With Muhammad being your tallest player out there, Pat, it takes everybody to box out and keep them off the board.
The Rangers kind of ball watched there. I think you could see the ball going up. They just did not box out.
Yulnitz shot too strong, but there's Muhammad underneath. And they'll say he touched it last, and that ball will go to the Bucks. 39 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. Bainbrick, Gator, Hudak, Miller, and number 3, Zach Weber out there for the Bucks. Bucks trying to get back in their winning tracks, a win over Holy Name the other night as Miller can't finish at the rim. His second attempt won't go, and Karan will pull it down. 2 losses to Bay and Fairview recently for the Bucks, trying to get some home cooking if you are the men of orange and brown. Karan, a nice in and out, puts it up on Miller. That one no good. 15-12, 5 seconds remaining. Gator's gonna have to put this one up, but he stepped out. Turnover forced by Andre Hollenberg on the sideline, and Lakewood will have a chance here to knot it up. Down 15-12, 3 seconds remaining. Yulnitz will get this one. Puts it up. Short on that three-point attempt, and it's Buckeye 15, Lakewood 12 here as the first quarter has come to a close. Lakewood a little sloppy to start that, but they got back to their bread and butter as the quarter ended. 3-point shots, driving and kicking. They found some really good opportunities there.
Both teams were a little sloppy there in the first. Rangers hung around and were able to get some guys in the game. Pete sat out that last minute and a half, so he should be fresh to start the second quarter. But yeah, they hit some big shots when they needed it most.
Lakewood, a few threes to end that one. And Pat, that's been the story for the Lakewood Rangers. When they can hit from deep, they're going to play with anybody in the GLC. A dangerous team to face in the tournament here coming up in a few weeks. But if you're Buckeye, you have to really like what you're doing, limiting the Rangers at the rim. Only one basket for the Rangers coming within the restricted area. And as Pat Soares comes back out for the Rangers, that's got to be an emphasis for Lakewood, is attacking the rim and getting some more high percentage looks out of this purple and gold squad.
Yeah, you got to get to the hoop. I mean, those are the highest percentage shots. They shoot the three ball so well, but you got to get into the paint.
Miles Harper checking in for his first action tonight for Lakewood. Back cut there, nice play by Weber as the back cut was set up to perfection. Coach Gamot calling that one out, but the Rangers were no match for that setup.
Yeah, it's like Coach Harrington almost knew that they were throwing in the young sophomore there, and they attacked him early there.
Film study paying dividends as 2 Rangers had their hands on the ball, and it's one Marcel Grayer who will have the putback and the bucket as Lakewood now trails 17-14 early here in the second quarter. Miller, the big junior, a nice drive on Pat Soares, and Nick Miller, a fantastic start to this one. Miller has 7 points to start this one, and a travel underneath. Good pressure there by Q Neal. Just because he didn't get the rebound didn't mean he wasn't going to influence that possession there, and he gets an extra possession for the Rangers.
Yes, Grant, he didn't give up on the play there, stayed, put a little pressure on him, forced the turnover.
Lakewood and Buckeye battling here. And again, two teams that haven't seen much of each other in the past. GLC opponents now sharing the conference schedule together. And this will be a fun matchup. Two guys in Coach Harrington and Coach Kamock, similar defensive philosophies, should make for a very competitive match here.
Yeah, absolutely. For years to come, they've both been here a while. You know, they kind of build a program, and it should be going for a long time.
Buckeye will take it out here on offense as they lead 19-14. Chris Gator asking for the screen. Caden Humack will work against MJ Grayer. Miller again loses that one. It's been all Miller for the Bucks so far in this one.
Yeah, the issue that you're seeing is this. We're giving up too many straight line drives.
On cue, Danny Flood, the nice take, and he's had some crafty finishes around the rim for the junior.
To use Coach Kamock's terminology, no one's sitting on the basket line for the Rangers. They're hugging their man, just leaving the middle wide open.
MJ Grayer rejected by Nick Miller, and here come the Bucks the other way. Danny Flood, the foul on Ullentz, and he will go to the line for an and one. Spirited play from the Bucks defensively, offensively, just too tough there as Miller sent the rejection back and Flood connected on the and one on the other end.
Yeah, it's a really tough play there. You know, as a player, you want to go for the block, but you almost just want to disrupt him and hope he misses it and not give him another shot.
Flood misses the foul shot, but a timeout from Coach Tom Harrington will save Zach Weber in the corner. And speaking of Coach Harrington, we have some lineage here tonight. Coach Harrington at Lakewood, Danny Harrington. Coach Harrington at Buckeye, two family members. And our latest sponsor on the Lakewood Sports Channel is the Harrington Moving Company. And that Danny Flood fast break there off the Nick Miller block is going to be our Harrington Moving. Let's get moving fast break of the game. We'll do the heavy lifting so you can focus on what really matters, making your new house a home. Call Danny today for a free quote on your next move. And Pat, again, we talked about that is some spirited basketball from the Bucks. You can tell their cohesion and their ability to rattle off 11 games. That's got to be up there with tops in the area. You usually talk about how many games a team has played in a season. It's usually pretty uniform, but not in this season.
No.
And the Rangers are showing that they're trying to learn one another. Only 2 days of practice this week before this GLC matchup.
It's tough, but you can't. I mean, the mistakes they're making aren't rust related. I mean, giving up offensive rebounds on a free throw is inexcusable. I mean, that's one time you shouldn't. I mean, you shouldn't ever, but that's one of the worst times to give one up. As
Muhammad committed the foul down low, Hudak converts the free throw there. Rangers deficit balloons to 10 points. And if you're the Rangers, the secret formula has been the deep three balls.
Yes.
And it's been Pete Patsaurus. We got to see Pete Patsaurus put his imprint on the game. I'm sure we will before this one's all said and done. As Muhammad pulls up on a short three attempt, but they're going to say Miller was out of bounds on his save attempt.
Well, the situation with the Rangers they're not getting into an offensive flow. They're kind of getting it and chucking it, not really running good offense. Defensively, they've been really poor this half.
Patsaurus, the nice turnaround shot there as he is able to stop the run for the Bucks.
You really want to see a good defensive stance here for the Rangers. That would be huge.
Back cut again by the Bucks. Finds Gator for three. That one way too long, and Danny Flood got in behind the Rangers, but a nice job to keep him in front. Patsaurus drives in, and he will get a foul assessed to Miller. Nice take there by Patsaurus. Again, that's part of Patsaurus' game there. Normally, you see a guy drive away from the backboard. You think he's going to try to lay it up over the rim. Patsaurus faked to his left and went underneath the arm of Miller. That's going to be a foul every time. Really crafty job by Patsaurus there.
He is really crafty. He does a good job of getting to the line, and a few games this year, he's kind of made a living there. I mean, at Leary Catholic, I think he finished with like almost 30, and I think he probably shot 15 free throws.
Patsoris sinks 1 of 2, and Pat, if he ever moves off of his home base right now, the free throw line, he can call Harrington moving. They'll get him right. They'll get him all set up there as Flood controls the ball for the Bucks as they lead now by 8. 25-17 with 5 minutes remaining here in the first half. Flood the deep three. That one is good. Danny Flood issuing a flood warning here at Buckeye Senior High.
See what you did there, Grant. He'll shoot it from anywhere on the court, so they got to know where he is at all times.
Karan, the tough layup, no call, and Muhammad will regain possession for the Rangers and get them 2 points on that possession. 28-19, and Karan a little bit out of control there, but that's where you like to see the leadership of Muhammad a little bit, being able to clean that one up and still get the Rangers a solid possession there. You're not coming away empty.
No, that was a big putback for the Rangers.
Bainbrick gets inside on the Rangers, but nice straight vertical defense by Muhammad as he pushes the pace the other way. Karan down low, that layup is good. And the Rangers suddenly are starting to string some offensive possessions together. Karan, a nice take there. Floater goes in over the rim.
Basketball, a game of runs, and you've never seen it more so than right now.
Rangers trying to get the Bucks out of sorts here. Flood the deep three. That one is good. Danny Flood, and again, Pat, you got to watch out for a guy like Danny Flood. He's been their offensive engine this year, and 2 deep triples here in the second quarter. That's got to be on Coach Kamak's radar as they go into halftime here in 4 minutes.
Well, I definitely know it's on his radar. You just got to make sure it's on the player's radar to know to close out with a high hand and make him into a driver.
It's when you see the storm clouds rolling in, right? You see the impending rain coming to dump on your community. That's Danny Flood right now from behind the three-point arc. 31-21 here on the Lakewood Sports Channel, under 4 minutes remaining. We're so glad you are tuning in here on this Friday night.
We still got a whole other half of basketball. I'm excited to hear how many weather-related jokes you can pull out of your hat.
Hey, listen, it's been 2 weeks, Pat. You know, my mind only focuses on one thing, and that's providing a quality broadcast for the Lakewood faithful. I got to get my puns in where I can, as the three-pointer was too long from MJ Grayer, and Buckeye will regain possession, leading by 10 here. And you kind of expected this a little bit from Lakewood, right? A little bit of inconsistency, but I'm sure if you talk to Coach Kamak, and like we were before the game, there's no excuse on the defensive end. That's all heart, effort, and technique, things they've been working on for the last 2 days.
Exactly, and that's what I said. You know, it's the mistakes they've been making aren't really rust related. They should be drilled into their head.
A clock malfunction here at Buckeye.
Don't see that very often.
As an official, Pat, you gotta be
You're on it.
aware of all facets of the game. I'm sure you know.
You got to keep an eye on that, absolutely.
Lakewood in the half court here. And again, we talked about Lakewood's the team that likes to get you out of position in transition and score that way. This half court defense that the Bucks are putting on the Rangers has certainly got to be unsettling with the length that Buckeye can throw at you.
Yes, yeah, I mean, we talked about it a lot this year. I mean, the Rangers are undersized in almost every game they played this year. But they just got to get it going towards the hoop like you talked about. Pete Patsoris scoring easy buckets.
Charis out there for the Rangers now, and Grayer, Karan, Patsoris, and Unlitz round out the starting lineup. Excuse me, the lineup currently on the floor. Patsoris thought about a off-footed fadeaway, but he will find Jarris. Up in his grill is Flood. They've seen the scouting report on Patsoris. Do not let hit give comfortable. And a travel on Patsoris will give the ball back to the Bucks. 3 minutes remaining. Bucks come back the other way with Danny Flood having a fantastic second quarter. 2 3-pointers from him, and they have been from quite the distance in range.
Yeah, look for him maybe to take a heat check here.
Jab step, the pull up there, no good as MJ Grayer pulls that one down and pushes it the other way. Patsoris knifing his way in. That layup is good. Pete Patsoris, the floater.
He's so crafty getting to the hoop, and I mean, if he doesn't get all the way, he's got a really nice floater. He can do a little bit of everything.
But to your point, with your keys to the game a little bit and what Coach Kamak has been stressing to these guys, it all started with the stop defensively, you can't have a possession where Pat Soros gets to go downhill at someone unless it comes in semi-transition or full-blown transition. But we just saw it there. The Rangers are most dangerous when Pat Soros has room to work. Buckeye's done a really nice job of knocking down shots and getting back on defense. But you saw some of the formula Lakewood's going to have to use to get back into this one.
Definitely great. You can't trade buckets in a basketball game. You have to get stops. So defense leads the good offense every time.
Hudak going to the line, shooting the first installment of 1-and-1 for the Bucks as he splits the pair, and Grayer pulls down the rebound. And there's Pat Soros again downhill. Kicks it out to Jarvis for three. Just a little long for the senior, and Buckeye will push it the other way.
Mark, a really good shooter in his own right, but that's where you kind of miss Aiden Wacker shooting 50% from three in that corner.
Nice fake there by Bainbrick, but the layup was no good, and a foul will be assessed to the junior forward for Buckeye, and Lakewood will take this one off, one foul away from the bonus.
In for the Bucks, number 23.
Bainbrick will be subbed out, and Gator will sub in.
Rangers get a bucket here, get a stop, maybe another bucket. That's a really good momentum going into the half.
Eulens directing the offense. It'd be nice for the Rangers if Eulens can get going a quiet first half for the junior.
Yeah, it's interesting what Buckeye's doing. They're kind of throwing a couple different options at Pete Patsoris guarding him.
Patsoris underneath, no good, but there he is again. Pete Patsoris, one of the top rebounders in the Northeast Ohio area, showing you his quick bounce there as he gathered his own miss and put in the layup.
Let's be honest, Grant, he's one of the top players in the area. I mean, he's scoring, he's rebounding, he's doing it all.
Oh, and a charge was halfway down from our baseline official, but it'll ultimately go in the scorebook as a blocking foul on Hakeem Karan, and the referee kind of got caught in between there, Pat, but it's tough when these guys are playing at such a high speed. This has been a high-octane game. This has been a good competitive basketball game. You're going to see physical plays like that. Some are going to go your way. Some of them are going to go the other team's way. Got to handle that as the Rangers get back into play here after their little bit of a layoff.
Yeah, and as a defensive guy, I like rewarding the defensive player. I mean, he's putting his body on the line. It's a tough call, though. It's the hardest call in basketball.
Something to be said about the ownership of the driving lane for the offensive player, though.
Yes, no, I agree. I mean, it's the toughest call in basketball. The block charge really is.
Eulens underneath that runner was halfway down, but no good, as Miller will collect it for the Bucks.
I say that now, but if the Rangers are driving, I love a call block.
A fair weather judge you are, Patrick.
Go Rangers.
Flood the take there, pulls up, no good. Ball was bounced around, and that one will go to the purple and gold. 48 seconds remaining here in the first half.
Flood is really good at shooting the ball, but you'll live with these little off-balance, pull-up, jumper, fadeaway kind of things.
Jar started about it from the corner as 40 seconds tick away here in Medina. Muhammad from the corner. That three will rattle around and go down for Ahmed Muhammad.
A little shooter's touch.
That ball hit about 4 different points of the backboard and rim, but it found its home at the bottom of the nylon. 20 seconds remaining as Buckeye pulls this one out. 33-28 the score here.
And it's kind of funny, I'm just looking at the hoops now, and this is a big possession here.
10 seconds remaining. Miller to the corner. That three no good, but Miller pulled it down. Miller was fouled underneath with .6 remaining. And Nick Miller, the junior, will go to the line to try to extend Buckeye's lead before both teams find themselves in the locker room.
Man, a stop there would have been huge to the Rangers.
Miller up on his first one, and that one is good. Just being a basketball fan, Pat, seeing a guy with Nick Miller's size and the shooting ability that he has, it just makes for really fun basketball as Pat Soros will fire the prayer, and that one is no good.
He's got great form. He's got really good ball rotation. He can really shoot it.
Lakewood trailing by 7 here on the Lakewood Sports Channel, 35-28 as we reach halftime. When we return on the Lakewood Sports Channel, we'll have stats, analysis, from the first half, and Pat will give us a few keys for the Rangers if they're going to close down this 7-point deficit here in Medina. It's Buckeye and Lakewood on the Lakewood Sports Channel. We will see you in a few. 35-28, the Bucks lead the Rangers here as we are winding down at halftime. And Pat, we talked to Coach Kamach a little bit before the Rangers retook the floor here, and he's saying, hey, rather be down 5 right now than 7. That was a big offensive rebound by Nick Miller, who's played fantastically in the first half. But if you're the Rangers, you got to be encouraged being down 10 at one point and looking like, hey, you know, the Bucks could control this game. But you find yourself down 7 with some good momentum going into the second half.
Yes, definitely. I mean, defensively, that could have been maybe the worst half for the Rangers all year. And you expected a little bit with the layoff, but some of them are inexcusable. But, yeah, like you said, only be down 7. They're hitting some shots. They're staying in it. So it could be an exciting half of basketball coming up.
At the half, it's Miller with 11, Flood with 12. Hudak had 5. He went to the line 6 times, knocked down 3 of those. And for the Rangers, it's old reliable Pete Patsourus with 11. Some fantastic offensive rebounding. Ahmed Muhammad with 5, and Akeem the Dream Haran with 5 as well. And if you're Lakewood, again, you got your legs back under you. You are looking to dig in defensively to fuel what you need to get done offensively here. I think the message was loud and clear at halftime, and I believe that if any of these games are serving as a history lesson for us earlier in the 2020-2021 season, is that the Rangers play every game down to the wire. So this one here at Buckeye Senior High should be no different.
You're right. I mean, they play hard, and hopefully that's one thing you want to see in the second half is effort on the defensive end from the Rangers. No straight line drives, really box out, and have good defense lead to good offense.
The offense will flow through Patsourus here as the Rangers are looking to take it to the Bucks as we resume play here on the Lakewood Sports Channel. 35-28, the Bucks lead as we are back underway. Kick out to Gator. Gator will fire for 3. That one is good. Chris Gator chomping down the nets with that one. Muhammad again from the corner. That one off the front of the rim, and Gator will push it the other way.
Rangers need to stop the basketball.
Flood thought about it. Had Ullens on his toes, but Riley got in front of the junior. A three-pointer again from number 3, Zach Weber. As the Bucks are coming out hot here to start in a turnover by the Rangers. It's quickly 41-28 Buckeye, and this hometown crowd is coming alive here.
Not the ideal start Coach Kamach drew up for the Rangers.
2 3-pointers have extended this 7-point lead to a 13-point lead as the Rangers will try to dig back in.
Not to mention they weren't from Miller or Flood.
The supporting cast getting involved for the Bucks. Moving it around the arc. Bainbrick, the nice jab step and floater as the Bucks continue their 8-0 run here to start the second half. 43-28. They lead the Rangers.
We kind of saw this at home against Valley Forge coming out a little flat.
As Patsourus knocks down the mid-range, but that's a great comparison, Pat. We know the Rangers are capable of playing inspired basketball, but right now they need to find where that switch is and flip it to on.
Yes, and the Rangers, fought back in that game as well, so they can definitely do that.
What a rebound by Q Neal. Coach Kamach talking about how crucial his rebounding has been as Patsourus lefts one. No good off the front of the rim, and Grayer mixed it up down low. A pile of bodies underneath the Lakewood basket. Bainbrick puts one up and rejected by Patsourus. Ullens pushes the other way. Underneath, he got Miller under the rim, and the ball went in. Riley Ullens pushing the pace and finding some room for the Rangers. What a rejection there by Patsourus. Could be the spark the Rangers are looking for.
Absolutely. You're not going to get it all back in one shot. So just get some good defensive stops and get some good offensive possessions and chip away at this.
A good one is brewing here as the ball was tipped off of Grayer's leg, the referee will say, as Hollenberg will check in for Lakewood. But, man, are we going to see some exciting basketball here with 5 minutes and 33 seconds remaining. You could feel the energy, whereas the first quarter, everybody was kind of feeling each other out. Teams don't have a long history against one another, but, man, they're well acquainted now, Pat, and this is going to be a good one.
And that block kind of woke up the Rangers bench, which is really big for the Rangers.
A jump ball, and Patsoris will get the ball back to the Rangers. It's Petey doing it all for the purple and gold.
And that's what you want to see. Your senior leaders step up, play really good defensive end, and then turn it into good offense.
Yulnitz will handle it for the purple and gold. Both sides invigorated with more life here as the Rangers and Bucks are turning up the heat. Patsoris against Flood.
Bucks going a little bit different, switching up, going zone now.
The 2-3 zone with Flood and Gator at the top, Bainbrick in the middle. Yulnitz will pull from deep. That one is good! Riley Yulnitz, party of 3.
We'll see how that does for Coach Harrington, see if he stays in that. Rangers can really shoot it from outside. It's always nice to give him a different look.
Flood knifes in, and at the last minute, he kicks that one out. Miller found Bainbrick. Bainbrick found nothing. Rangers pull it down and going back, trying to cut back into this lead. Yulnitz all the way, and that one is good. Timeout, Lakewood. And man, oh man, are we seeing some inspired basketball here on the Lakewood Sports Channel.
Great run by the Rangers. Get it going there. I think that might have been a little competition. Who's going to call the timeout first, Coach Kamok or Coach Harrington? Fantastic defense leading to good offense.
Now this is a Friday night of GLC basketball. Everybody is strapped in and locked in to this one, Pat. The intensity is picked up. The quality of play is picked up. And you know who benefits is our viewers at home.
Absolutely. I mean, the way the Rangers came out to start the second half, I said, oh no, this could be a long second half.
The lead got up to 13 there. The bench was flat. And like you said, it was the Pete Patsoris defensive effort. First the block, second the jump ball. And man, Riley Yulnitz stepping up after a quiet first half by his standards. Only the 1 3-pointer to his name and a couple of free throws. Excuse me, just the 3-pointer to his name. Man, he has really found a different gear here in this third quarter.
You know, Grant, he's sneaky fast. You know, you kind of think, okay, he's going to, slow down. Then he just blows right by you and get an easy layup.
Riley Yulnitz doing a good job of getting in the restricted area for the purple and gold. Q Neal pestering Danny Flood on the perimeter. Flood runs into a wall of purple, but he finds Bainbrick underneath. That layup no good. And a turnover as Buckeye will give the ball back to Lakewood, and the entire bench in a couple rows back is standing and enjoying this one here in Medina.
I mean, you can see it on the players. They're working harder. They're getting up in their faces. They're pressuring the basketball. It's totally different than the first half and the start of the second half. It's fantastic to see.
A new team emerged from the Buckeye locker room, and they have found their footing here in the GLC matchup as Q Neal had a chance at a 3-point play, but he will go to the line shooting 2. But again, Pat, stop productive offensive possession. Stop productive offensive possession. You got to be happy if you are the Lakewood Ranger coaching staff.
Definitely, Grant. I mean, it's no secret. You get stops. It's key to winning basketball games.
Lakewood certainly turning up the pressure defensively. A lapse there. Bainbrick had a pretty good look at it, but Grayer didn't give up on the play as Q Neal's free throw will take a trip around the rim and fall in. But what a job by Grayer just to influence that layup a little bit led to the miss by Bainbrick, and Lakewood continues their momentum.
And I was just going to say that, Grant. You know, it was a bad defensive possession, but they were being so aggressive that you're almost okay with it.
The stands are rumbling here at Buckeye High School as the Rangers are stampeding their way back into this one. 43-29, under 4 minutes remaining. Flood will try to get the Bucks back into their scoring ways. Flood from 3. That one is good. Put on your boots, it's a flood warning.
Yes, it is, Grant.
Ooh. Streaking out ahead is Gator. That one rejected by Patsoris. Chased down and sent away. Yulnitz for 3, wide open, short, but there he is again. Yulnitz on the ground. Ultimately goes off Yulnitz, Excuse me, that ball will stay with Lakewood as they're going to say it went off Miller. What an effort by Yulnitz.
Great effort there. And, you know, it's funny, you get those wide open threes, and it's almost like you're thinking about it too much when you're shooting it, and it came up a little short, but good effort there.
Another block by Patsoris. The last block by Patsoris preceded a Lakewood run, and this one will certainly look to be the same.
Really tough shot by Pete there. He makes it look so easy.
Patsoris, the nice turnaround as Lakewood now trails only by 5. Flood pulls up with Rangers all around him. Miller cleans it up 4-2. Timeout by Coach Harrington. He will certainly have some words for his orange and brown squad as Lakewood now trails by 7, 48-41, 2 minutes and 47 seconds remaining.
Coach Grant, it's kind of funny how it's working, you know. Both teams are going on little runs, and normally it's the opposite team's coach calling the timeout, but Coach Camlock called the timeout when they went on a little run. Now Coach Harrington is doing the same thing.
And it's a little unconventional, but would you contribute that? You look at the Rangers side, Patsoris, generally the only senior in most of the lineups. We've seen Jarvis a little bit tonight, as well as, you know, some other key contributors. For the Bucks, it's, you know, the senior Chris Gator in there a little bit tonight, the senior Zach Weber. But most of these contributors are juniors, sophomores, guys that are experiencing the varsity level a little bit. And as a coach, when the game is teetering on small details and it's teetering on paying attention to the game plan, you got to use your timeouts in a way not only to I would say correct behaviors or mistakes, but more often just coaching your guys up and saying, hey, here's what to expect, because that experience just isn't there.
Correct. I mean, definitely, I'm not saying either of them are bad timeouts. They're very smart because Coach
But just a little, what you wouldn't expect.
A little unorthodox than what you normal see, but especially when the Rangers want to switch up defense or what have you, kind of call them, talk them into it, or get them into a good offensive set there.
Well, this is a fantastically coached game with Harrington and Camlock facing off, and the coaching chops in the stands are fantastic with former girls coach Mike Harper joining the Lakewood wagon all the way out here to Medina. Riley Yulnitz from 3. Riley Yulnitz has laid claim to this third quarter and really done a nice job pulling the Rangers back in. That's 2 driving layups, 2 3-pointers for Yulnitz in this third quarter alone.
Yeah, we got, 2 of the top GLC coaches in the area. They're both very good. And then, one of the better coaches in recent history in Coach Harper here.
Certainly the place to be on a Friday night is Buckeyes Gym. Flood looked at the drive, but thought otherwise. The take underneath by Hudak almost went down, but the big sophomore will go to the line shooting a pair.
He's been there a lot tonight. Only shooting 50%. Hopefully he misses a couple here.
48-44, the Bucks lead the Rangers with 2 minutes and 16 seconds remaining. As Hudak knocks in the first one to extend the Buckeye lead. And like we talked about, Pat, we know the players for the Rangers, they're just excited to be back out there. It's no fun having to pause your basketball season for 2 weeks. And you can really see it here in this third quarter. They're not worried about anything other than just being back out there as a unit and playing as hard as they possibly can.
Yeah, you can really see it pick up in the second half, and it's fun to see.
Jarris, a deep 3. That one off the back iron, but there's Patsoris, an offensive rebounding menace. And a nice floater by Patsoris. That one, a long floater by any standard, but Patsoris got it to go.
He makes those tough shots look so easy. He's fun to watch.
Hollenberg and Grayer were hounding Flood, and Flood found Weber, and Weber found a 3. 53-46, 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining.
You almost think this game would be in the 60s and 70s at this point, the way the offense is going in the second half.
Patsoris from 3, that one just off as Jarris was able to tie this one up, and a jump ball will keep the ball with the Bucks, but important for Jarris to flip that arrow for the Rangers. And Pat, again, these are 2 teams, if you talk to their coach and sat down and say, give me your coaching philosophy, the first words out of their mouth is going to be defense. But this has been an exciting offensive third quarter.
Yes, it definitely has. And really good by Mark to get in there and get a jump ball. loom large later in the game.
Baseline out of bounds as a foul will be assessed to Mark Jarris. And again, we talked about that earlier in the year, Pat. There's other ways to affect the game other than shooting the basketball or putting the basketball in the hoop. And Jarris showing there as a senior, you got to find any way to impact the game, and that jump ball might prove to be crucial as Flood runs off a pair of screens into the corner.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he hasn't scored tonight, but he's he has 3 fouls, which sometimes using a foul isn't a bad thing.
Gator's 3 rims out, and it will be tipped out of bounds by Lakewood. It looked like Lakewood had a chance at that rebound, but advantageously it bounced into the Bucks' hands.
Yeah, and the guys that are killing the Rangers in the second half isn't Flood or Miller. It's the role players that have been stepping up and hitting some big shots for him.
Weber, a pair of big threes as Hollenberg did a nice job defending that back screen. Nice adjustment by the purple and gold. And it's been Flood hitting some tough shots as well. Buckeye pulling this one out, looking to limit the Rangers' offensive potential as the third quarter winds down. Hollenberg hounding Gator. Weber jumps in, was looking for Flood, and Flood luckily got there before that ball traveled out of bounds.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to get the last one here.
20 seconds remaining here, end of the third quarter. Flood against Neal. Flood receives the screen, and now it's Flood and Grayer eyeing up as 10 seconds remain here in the third quarter. Flood receives the screen. 4 seconds, 3 seconds. Flood puts it up, that one rims out, and the third quarter will come to a close. A quarter that felt as exciting of a quarter as we've seen this year. Really great basketball by the Bucks and the Rangers. This is going to be a storybook fourth quarter for those of our friends tuning in around the Northeast Ohio area.
Yeah, that was a textbook defensive stop there at the end for the Rangers. Q Neal and MJ Grayer were switching back and forth on that ball screen, and Q did a fantastic job contesting that shot. Now Pete Patsoris tried to shoot it, and after the buzzer, we might have taken out a light there.
Well, our cameraman Colin Cunningham has volunteered to make sure that that light fixture is still sturdy after that Patsoris launch made a connection. As we want to connect with our presenting sponsor, First Federal of Lakewood, for all their support. First Federal of Lakewood is rooted in the communities they serve and has supported the personal and business banking needs of its customers since 1935. Visit ffl.net to learn more. And if you're interested in supporting the Lakewood Sports Channel, make sure you go off to golakewood.org to donate to the Lakewood Sports Channel. We have had such a fun time out here back on the road at Buckeye Senior High. And boy, Pat, we can't do it without those families who have supported the channel at home and the help of the Lakewood Athletics program and the Lakewood Athletics Booster. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else on a Friday night than sitting next to you calling a Lakewood Rangers basketball game.
It feels good to be back, Grant. It's fun to watch.
Patsoris getting the post position on Flood. Miller there hawking his position as well as Patsoris took a shot, but the rim denied his shot there. Weber pushes it the other way. Rejected again. Another chase down by Patsoris. Neal finds Ullens in the corner. That three is in and out. Patsoris pulls it down, no good. Karan pulls it down, and he is fouled.
Hard foul.
Hakeem Karan, a hit not seen since the fall, as that gridiron star was knocked down forcefully there on the defensive foul.
Yeah, it seems like Pete Patsoris is getting, they're bodying him up pretty good down there. He hasn't got a call yet. Hopefully he gets one down the stretch.
Units will lead the Ranger offense here at the beginning of the fourth quarter. Looking to get out of the corner as he's guarded by Miller. Karan, a nice take underneath, no good. He pulls in his own rebound. Karan, the layup will go, and Hakeem, the dream, has cut feet. Buck lead to 5.
Rangers need a big stop here. Let's cut it to a one-possession game.
Gator gets it off to Hudak as Hudak lost it and will corral it. Grayer clapping in his defensive stance, imploring the purple and gold to defend as one unit. Flood to take on Neal. Patsoris came all the way over. A big fall as both players are still down on the other end.
Yeah, that's not good to see. They both came down really hard.
Patsoris trying to block the flood layup as both players landed hard there. Flood is to his feet and back to the benches. Patsoris still being looked at by the Buckeye athletic training staff, hoping the best for number 1 in purple and gold.
Yeah, you could hear that up here. I mean, they came down, simultaneously. It's good to see Flood up, hopefully peaking it up here soon as well.
Lakewood trailing Buckeye 53-48. We got 6 minutes and 42 seconds remaining here as an injury timeout on the Lakewood Sports Channel. We will resume after this injury timeout with more action from Buckeye High School. Patsoris is to his feet, being helped off the court, and we're hoping the best for number 1, Pete Patsoris. As Lakewood and Buckeye will resume here.
Yeah, it's tough to see your senior leader go down like that. Hopefully he's okay. He plays super hard, and that's tough play.
Lakewood and Buckeye will get back in here. 6 minutes and 42 seconds remaining. Lakewood trailing 53-48. Yulnitz looking to get this Ranger deficit down to 1 possession. Karan will take it up top against Bainbrook. The 3 from Karan is good. A line drive by Hakeem the Dream will cut the Buckeye lead to just 2. Haven't seen many dribble pull-ups from Hakeem Karan. That was a nice surprise to see that shot from Hakeem the Dream.
Especially after, that few-minute layoff, it's a really big shot.
Taken inside by Hudak is up and in. A physical take by Caden Hudak will extend Buckeyes' lead back to 4. Yulnitz got all the way under the rim and tried to fire that one up, but the ball was tipped out of bounds by Lakewood.
Really good take there by Riley. He just, got a little too far under the hoop there.
Yulnitz found himself in unfamiliar territory as the Rangers trail by 4. 5 minutes, 45 seconds remaining. It's been a host of Bucks getting in the action here in the second half. Weber, Hudak have really risen to the occasion here in the final frame. take by Gator. Bainbrick ripped down the shot, and Grayer sent it away, but too physical. He was on the take, and that will be a shooting foul as Bainbrick will go to the line for 2 shots.
At the line for 2 shots for the Bucks, number 33, Shane Bainbrick.
5 minutes, 30 seconds remaining here as Bainbrook puts his first one up and in.
Into the Rangers, number 14, Andre Hollenberg.
Rangers going smaller with Andre coming in for Ahmed, maybe trying to, because the Bucks have been ball screening a lot, may be able to switch a little bit better on the ball screen.
Certainly a group of 5 out there that is very different in size and stature as Hollenberg's 3 no good. Lakewood mixing it up down low, but Bainbrick came away with it. Gator pushing it, it went off his foot, and Q Neal's there to corral the ball. Q Neal pulls up from 3, that one off the front of the rim, but there is Karan.
Steal by Chris Gator.
Gator going the other way for the Bucks. Gathers, jumps into Yulnitz. A continuation bucket is given. And Coach Kamak, rightfully so, questioning the continuation on that one. It seemed that Gator ran into Karan and then had a couple more steps before that shot was put up.
I thought it could have been called a charge absolutely there, and then Annie got the continuation.
Gator to the line will complete the 3-point play, and Lakewood now trailing by 9 here, 60-51, 5 minutes remaining.
One thing that's not going unnoticed this half is Q with his defensive pressure on the basketball. It's been fantastic this half.
Yulnitz against Weber on the perimeter. Yulnitz from 3, that one is off. And Buckeye will push it the other way. Buckeye on a nice little run here, a pivotal moment in the 4th quarter. Lakewood needing a stop. Bainbrick took it all the way in. That layup no good, and the rebound is fought for between Bainbrick and Grayer. And ultimately a jump ball will be called, and the possession arrow will reward the Bucks.
Gotta get your hands on that and secure the basketball if you're the Rangers.
5 fouls on the Rangers in this half, 2 fouls on the Bucks. Quite a bit of ways from the bonus for both sides. 4 minutes, 20 seconds remaining on the Lakewood Sports Channel as Weber gets himself in the corner. Bainbrick around to Gator. Gator for 3, and that one too strong. Pulled down by Hollenberg, and Lakewood will look to cut into the 9-point deficit. Yulnitz the floater underneath, and that one is good. A nice display of skill by Riley Yulnitz to find some daylight.
You said the officials are kind of letting them play a little bit. It seems like the Buckeye Bucks are kind of getting a little bit of hands on our ball handlers, but really good job of handling that pressure and scoring by Riley.
Riley Yulnitz will certainly be the emphasis of the Ranger offense with Pete Patsoris in the locker room here in the 4th quarter. Coach Kamak certainly going to have to get creative for the Rangers to find themselves back in this one. It's the 4th quarter here on the Lakewood Sports Channel, and it's the Buckeye Bucks 60, the Lakewood Rangers 53. And Pat, kudos to the Rangers. Pat Soares still in the locker room with an injury, and they are playing hard. It's going to take a performance from a guy like Yulnitz and somebody stepping up. It was Karan for a nice 3-pointer, but from your perspective, who's going to have to play really big minutes here in the final frame of this one?
I think it's Q. I mean, he's been doing a fantastic job on Flood, picking him up full court, driving him, making him not handle the ball and taking him out of the game right now. He's got to continue to do that to give the Rangers a good chance.
Lakewood trailing by 7. 3 minutes, 59 seconds remaining from Buckeye High School. It'll be Hollenberg, Yulnitz, Karan, Neal, and Grayer. And for the Bucks, Gator, Flood, Bainbrick, Miller, and Weber.
Rangers showing some pressure here.
Full court pressure from the Rangers trying to unsettle the Bucks. Nice reversal there by Flood as Miller gets the ball back to Gator, and Gator gave it right to Karan and fouled the junior as he was trying to break out the other way.
Isn't that funny? That's how basketball works. You show this full court pressure. That's where you're trying to turn them over. And then when they get it passed and break it down in half court, that's where you get the turnover.
Nice job by the Rangers staying tenacious in their pressure to try to cut into this 7-point lead. 3 minutes, 51 seconds remaining. Rangers trail by 7. Karan thought about a three. He will pull the three. That one just off. Miller, nice rebound down low, and Weber will break out the other way. Gator underneath. Poked away by Grayer. Units the pass into Karan. That layup almost good, but it'll be a reservation for 2 at the free throw line for Karan.
Rangers don't need to get it all back in one shot. They're doing a really good job of forcing some turnovers and getting to the line.
And we know from Buckeyes' previous games this season, it's been turnovers as an Achilles heel for the orange and brown. And we're seeing that much to the Rangers' delight here in the fourth quarter. If you're the Rangers, you're not going to stop applying that pressure. You're going to turn up the heat even more, and you got the lineup to do it. Nobody over 6 foot, but certainly some guys that can get in passing lanes and make life difficult for a ball handler.
A lot of speed on the floor for the Rangers.
Ooh. Q Neal assessed a blocking foul as Flood ran right through the
Yeah, I kind of thought that
junior.
Flood might have been a little out of control there and might have got an offensive foul.
3 minutes, 29 seconds remaining. It's 60-55 Buckeye. Bainbrick dribbles it up the side. Trying to find Flood. He is denied. Finds Hudak, who will drive. Hudak underneath, blocked by Neal. And that ball will stay with Buckeye. A fantastic defensive effort by the undersized Q Neal, not letting Hudak have a look at the rim.
And that's the one other thing that, if you're not forcing a turnover, you're still frustrating the player by really getting into them and playing really hard defense.
There's Q Neal. Knifes into the passing lane. Lays it up on the other end. And full court pressure resumes. 60-57, 3 minutes remaining. What a play by Neal. Flew in there like a bird and was able to get the steal as Lakewood hounding. And a timeout by Coach Tom Harrington. And the purple and gold are alive here at Buckeye Senior High.
Man, you love to see this, man. The effort that they're giving right now, full court, picking them up wherever they are on the court, really forcing turnovers. And like we said, they're prone to turnovers, So love to see a few more here.
Buckeye certainly looking uncomfortable here as the Rangers have certainly turned up the heat all the way down I-71 in Medina. 60-57, the Rangers trail. Coach Kamach demonstrative in this timeout right now, really trying to get the Rangers to continue this run. And Pat, we've talked about it, but a long layoff for the purple and gold. You got to imagine their tanks are nearing E, but you wouldn't know it because these guys are really fighting for players that are out right now. You got to imagine they are inspired, trying to bring a wing back to Pete Patsource and Aiden Wacker alike.
Yes, and they're showing as a lot of grit here, just forcing a lot of pressure on the Buckeye Bucks.
No changes for the Bucks as it's Hudak, Bainbrick, Weber, and Gator, and that ball will tip off Weber's hand. Flood chased it all the way down, but stepped on the baseline, and Lakewood will retain possession. Another turnover by Buckeye will give the Rangers a chance to tie this one up with under 3 minutes to go.
And it's funny because you're watching at home thinking, why didn't the Rangers do this earlier? When you're down some guys and you've been on a long layoff, you want to save some in the tank for late in the fourth quarter. It's
Units against the sophomore Hudak. Kicks it over to Neal, who will pull for three. Q Neal's shot was no good, but there's a tip to Karan, and his layup is good. What a play by Andre Hollenberg to keep that one alive. 60-59. Grayer locked in at the top of the press. A foul on Grayer as he was too physical there, and that's part of unleashing a young squad into a full court press. You got to make sure they're doing so responsibly, Pat. Grayer there a little too physical, but hey, you got a young squad like this, they're going to make their mistakes. You just love to see them really embracing this full court challenge they're throwing the Bucks way.
Oh yeah, it's sometimes it's not great to see, but with this young team, like you said, it's you love them running around like crazy men.
1-1 for Bainbridge. The first one rims out, tipped by Miller, but it's tipped to Q Neal. Lakewood trailing by 1. 2 minutes, 15 seconds remaining as Ulnitz will look for a good one. Ulnitz knifes through, and an off arm was assessed by Buckeye. And if you're the Rangers, you're fortunate on that one. It looked like Ulnitz was on his way to a travel, but a push from Buckeye may have got him there a little sooner. Hollenberg will inbound here. 2 minutes and 14 seconds remaining. Hollenberg the last one to touch that, and Coach Kamok can't believe it, as the Rangers will have to come up with another defensive stop if they're going to want to get on the plus side of this matchup. 60-59 they trail. Miller dribbled into the corner, tipped away by Ulnitz. Lakewood seemed to think that Miller was the last one to touch that ball, but it will stay with the orange and brown.
Really impressed with Q Neal there in that last offensive possession.
There's Q Neal again, right on cue. Our predictor extraordinaire, Patrick Hayes, has brought to fruition another Neal steal. A Neal steal, Pat. We're going to have to put that on a T-shirt.
Oh, man.
Call one of the Velocics. I got an idea.
Hey, I'll tell you what. Q Neal has just, I've seen the growth from him. Earlier in the year, he kind of took it and kind of went a little too fast. He slowed down in that offensive possession, and that was really smart by him, and then he comes back and gets a fantastic defensive steal again.
Q Neal has been the heart and soul of this Ranger squad, and Pat, I know exactly what I'm doing after this one. I have to make a call to my health insurance provider and say, listen, I'm calling the cardiac Rangers, and I need to make an adjustment because every game for the Rangers this season, albeit 5 of them, has been barn burners down the stretch, and the Lakewood faithful are imploring the purple and gold to pull this one out. 2 minutes, 4 seconds remaining, 60-59, the Bucks lead.
Rangers, let's get a good look here, you know. You don't need to force anything, got a lot of game left. You know, good look's huge.
We are now under 2 minutes as the after timeout play by Coach Kamok will find a shot for Ulnitz. His 3 is good! Riley Ulnitz ended up on his back, and the shot ended up in the bottom of the net. Rangers their first lead in this one in a long time. 62-60, the Rangers have taken the lead. Miller rolling to the hoop. That one is blocked by Neal, and a foul on Neal will send the sweet shooting Miller to the line.
Tough spot there. Tough spot there. You know, really good. They were working their butts off, and then a little late, got a hand on the arm.
Miller knocks down the first free throw, a fantastic free throw shooter. Coach Harrington likes seeing this guy at the line with the game in the balance. 62-62, we are all tied in Medina, Ohio. We're glad you're joining us on the Lakewood Sports Channel. This one's shaping up to be a classic. Ulnitz the 3 on the last possession. He'll command the Lakewood attack. Karan the nice in and out. That one just rimmed off, but Q Neal hit that one, and a jump ball will give the ball to the Bucks. But what an effort by Q Neal to tie that one up underneath. You cannot write the story of this comeback without Q Neal's name being up front and present in the first byline. Pat, he has been huge this quarter.
And it's not necessarily scoring the basketball. I mean, he's doing it on the defensive end, which is fun to see, leading to good offense. I mean, he's getting steals, and when he's not getting steals, he's pressuring the basketball and turning the ball over other ways.
If the Bucks were riding comfortably in the beginning of that third quarter, all that comfort has certainly gone the way of the Rangers as they have made this one a knockout, drag-out fight all the way to the end of this fourth quarter. 62-62 on the Lakewood Sports Channel. We only bring you exciting basketball here on the Lakewood Sports Channel, and this one is no exception.
And we talked about guys stepping up. Mark Jars hasn't played a lot today, but when he did, he got that tie up, and now look at this. It turned out that it's Rangers basketball late in the game. It could be huge.
62-62, the Rangers tied up with the Bucks. Coach Kamok working with 1 timeout remaining. The Bucks have 2. Lakewood 8 fouls to their name. The Bucks have 5. And the possession arrow trends in the way of the Bucks. The jump ball will actually be the Rangers' ball. That was a quick flip of the arrow. Rangers taking this one. Hollenberg pops out. Yulnitz to the corner. The three is no good.
Really?
What a rebound by Grayer. Karan for three. That one is no good. There's Grayer again. He tipped it into the arms of Hudak, who was fouled by Hollenberg. Some fantastic looks there for the Rangers. And that one not going down. And Coach Gamak asking for an explanation on that foul on Hudak. It looked like a couple of guys battling for a basketball. But Hudak will find himself at the charity stripe, shooting two.
It's almost like the ref was anticipating a foul there. I thought Q got his hands on the ball, but they called the foul.
Hudak knocks down the first one, a big free throw for the sophomore. 63-62, the Bucks lead. 58 seconds remain. This one up and in, and both free throws are good for Hudak.
Still a lot of time left. They don't need a raw shoot a three. They can get a good shot, and a 2-point bucket's quite okay here.
64-62, the Rangers trail the Bucks. Q Neal found himself wide open. That layup no good. Tipped by Miller. Ball's on the ground. And a timeout by Tom Harrington will relieve the pressure from the Bucks. 40 seconds remaining. That looked like a hairy situation there, Pat, but luckily, Tom Harrington quick to make the T symbol and get his Buckeyes in the huddle.
Yes, Q Neal couldn't get that floater drop. He had a really good look at it.
He was almost a little shocked at how wide open he was in that play. You could tell he wasn't the main option, but certainly a good option there and a good look for the Rangers.
And the Rangers can't panic here. They've forced so many turnovers tonight quickly from the Buckeye Bucks. There's still a lot of game left. They don't need a foul right away. Play some defense, try to get another turnover.
It's the little nuances in the game that sometimes are the memorable things during a broadcast for me. I don't know about you. But watching Coach Kamak there with his young squad on the heels of a fantastic comeback and a great fourth quarter, displaying the type of ball denial he would like the Rangers to display on the defensive end. You just love to see that stuff because, boy, there have been mounds and mounds of adversity thrown the Lakewood Rangers' way.
Yes.
But you wouldn't know it watching these guys play.
They just play really hard. I mean, they're doing all this without their leading scorer right now. I mean, he's been out most of the fourth, if not almost all the fourth quarter, and they're just continuing to grind, and hopefully another grind defensive possession here.
64-62, the Bucks lead. 40.4 seconds remain. Q Neal will pester the ball. Flood will take it in the corner. And he lost it, but he could regain possession. Miller wide open under the hoop. Flood didn't see him, and he is fouled.
Really good opportunity there for the Rangers. Almost got another turnover. Couldn't get their hands on it.
Flood, a dangerous relaxation while he was dribbling the ball up, but luckily he was able to corral the errant ball. His first free throw, no good. The sweet shooting guard usually automatic from the free throw line, but this second one will be a big one.
Need a box out here.
That free throw, nothing but net, and the Bucks extend their lead to 3.
Still don't need a 3. Can get a quick 2. Is quite okay here for the Rangers.
30 seconds remaining. It's Yulnitz looking to ignite the offense. Flood jumps out on the high screen. Yulnitz versus Weber. Timeout by Coach Kamak, 19.1 seconds remaining. Rangers trail by 3, and a good timeout there. Really, it's his last timeout.
Yes.
But obviously with a squad like that, you want the ball in Yulin's hands. If it's not working out, hey, let me draw up an easier way for the ball to be in Yulin's hands.
There was no flow there.
Sure.
And you need to get in a good flow there. Like I said, you didn't need a 3. Could have got a quick 2.
Sure.
But they took a lot of
but
time
not
off
forcing
there.
something there is certainly something that Coach Kamak will be happy about as he'll be able to put his fingerprints on this play here. And make or miss, you certainly want to give yourself the best opportunity.
Yeah, and that's why he called a timeout. He didn't see a good ending to that. You know, it was going to be a forced shot, it seemed as though. So that's why he called the timeout, try to get him in it with a good look.
The Rangers are certainly putting in a good effort tonight here at Buckeye High School. 65-62, they trail. Buckeye in the double bonus. Lakewood 2 fouls away. with 19 seconds remaining. The Rangers will try to get a bucket here to force the Bucks' hand.
Still a decent amount of time. If you can get a quick 2, it's quite okay. Extend the game. Now, if you've got a good 3, and Riley's up there, definitely take it.
It's Grayer, Hollenberg, Yulnitz, Karan, and Neal out there for the Rangers. Bainbrick almost had his hand on that one. Handoff by Karan. 15 seconds remaining. Karan, the step back, no good. Flood holding Yulnitz. Bainbrick came all the way out on Yulnitz, and a travel on Yulnitz will give the ball back to the Bucks with 8 seconds remaining.
Yeah, they were face guarding Riley there, and it seemed like they had their hands all over him, but, he shuffled the shoes there.
No timeouts remaining for the Rangers. Timeout by Coach Harrington. It was getting close to a 5-second there. A final timeout will be spent by the Bucks with 7.7 seconds remaining. (65-62).
Yeah, Rangers here now. They're going to sit here and face guard all their guys. They're going to be up into them, try to get a quick steal. If not, they got to foul right away.
No timeouts makes this one a little tougher for the Rangers. But again, what an effort by the Purple and Gold tonight after this 2-week layoff.
But no timeouts for Buckeye either. So inbounding the basketball, if the Rangers can do a good job of defending the, off the ball, get a 5-second call would be huge.
Certainly the number one mission of Coach Tom Harrington is to find the ball in either Nick Miller or Danny Flood's hand. You know a foul is coming immediately for the Purple and Gold. You'll want to see one of those sweet shooting Buckeye Bucks at the free throw line.
Definitely, but with no timeouts, you want to get it into anyone if you can.
Q Neal, Hakeem Karan, MJ Grayer, Andre Hollenberg, and Riley Yulnitz out there. Bainbrick, Miller, Hudak, Weber, and Danny Flood out there for the Bucks with just 7 seconds remaining and a 3-point lead for the Bucks.
Watch deep. Don't want to take off deep and get an easy layup if you're the Rangers.
A diamond formation for the Bucks. Bainbrick can't find anyone. His pass into Miller.
They need a foul.
No foul was called, and Buckeye will run out the clock as 0.5 seconds remain. A Lakewood.
That's always tough. I mean, when you're trying to foul and they're not really calling it, that's a tough situation.
Certainly the situation lent itself to an immediate foul. Karan believed he got enough of Miller there. The refs didn't see it that way, and we've talked about it. The refs have been letting these guys play a little bit. Different situation there, but consistency is consistency as Bainbrick knocks in the first one. 66-62, the Rangers trail.
Yeah, they were really close to getting a 5-second call there, too. They got in just at the last minute.
Bainbrick's second is up and in. A 5-point advantage for the Bucks as Flood steals the inbounds, and the Bucks win this one 67-62. The Rangers are back in action tomorrow night at home against University School. For Colin Cunningham, Patrick Hayes, I'm Grant Graves. We're so happy to bring you Ranger basketball once again. We can't wait to see you again tomorrow night. It's the Buckeye Bucks 67, the Lakewood Rangers 62. Thanks for tuning in, and go Rangers!